Evaluation is extremely difficult, especially meaningful evaluation. The foregoing samples are all rather raw, some of course more so than others. Could Columbus, one asks, seeing the gulls 2 days off San Salvador, possibly have envisioned the buses on Madison Avenue or the looping freeway on Los Angeles? If he had, wouldn't he have cut about and hoisted full sail for Spain? Could Socrates, strolling through Athens with his fellow idlers, have caught the faintest glimmer of the Yale Bowl and the higher studies in hotel management? If so, wouldn't he, for all the heroics with the hemlock, would have stopped asking people those silly questions? So it is through history. Evaluation is difficult. Especially circumstances, one in particular, render the necessary task even more troublesome in concluding the present study. Yet, the task must be attempted. Certain tentative conclusions must be, if not drawn, at least indicated. For one thing, it's expected. We may say, then, that the evidence seems to point to the following working hypothesis. 1. Far from having vanished from the dawn of enlightenment, the deminded merely took other forms and are very clearly working today as they always did. 2. All the raw data, as it is, indicates a new level of perception on the part of those engaged in finding the deminded, in describing their dominant characteristics, and in taking steps to thwart demindotic activity. 3. Yet this heightened perception and the action that flows from it are still scattered, disorganized, and inefficient. A factor prolonging this condition is the pluralist nature of American society. Depending on whether the individual observer is stationed within that society, he may see an entirely different set of deminds from that seen from other stations. 4. This indicates that a revival of the ancient discipline of demindology is certainly overdue, just as we suspected before we began running the tests. 5. But demindology today, both theoretical and practical, will almost certainly take new forms, probably unrecognizable by the practitioners of classical demindology in the golden age of the 17th century. For, whereas all real competent demindologist then was in one sense the agent of his entire society, and in the other guiding spirit of that society, this is no longer because it's no longer true. The new demindologist will almost certainly resemble a broken between interests and competing parties rather than an agent or guide of any one of them. 6. The final conclusion is also one we suspected strongly at the outset, but that now has a sizable body of scientific evidence to back it up. New funds must be sought. Inquiries are invited. The abrupt introduction of an evaluation at this point was necessitated by the following circumstance. Shortly after his return from the Isle of Capri, the director was asked to come to the offices of the foundation housed, as it happens, in those of the firm that this is the principal donor. There it was explained to him that the firm had been having a bad year and that only a certain percentage of its income was deductible as education, scientific, and cultural encouragement, a percentage that had been reached during his side trip to Paris. Funds were therefore cut off until the profit situation and the tax situation made them available again. Since it was hinted rather broadly that such availability may be far in the future, the director, in his decision-making role, gave the order to publish at once. Index. alchemy, animism, Baal, Baal, Petit Baal, and Petit Mal, Cabal, Coven, Demind, Daniel Webster, to pay, to foreign, exorcism, familiars, fiend, foul, gremlins, Hecate, also see Wilson, incubus, also see succubus, James Frazier, James Stewart, Lucifer, lycanthropy, malice, malacella, tholologo, Mather Cotton, Mather Increase, Mephisto sees Gutta in New Jersey, a Moraine Castle, Kettle, Obsession, Diabolic Magnificent, Old Harry, see Independence, Missouri, Old Ned, Old Nick, that's 5 cents, Old Scratch from 1860, Poltergeist, Possession, Diabolic, Profanation of the Host, Profanation of the Hostess, Sabbath Witches, which 7777, Blatantly, see Succubus, see Incubus, Telluritory Spirits, Unfamiliars, Vampires, Walpurgisnacht, Warlocks, Werewolves, Witches, Wizards, Lizards, and Zarathustra.